Now, Matthew, like I said the other day, I saw the Houston Rockets game, and I was there to witness Kevin Durant just passed Dirk Nowitzki. But now the question is, what now? Now, whether this Rockets core with KD, Jabari Shagun, and Thompson are they one trade away from true contention, or is just a high ceiling regular season team? Do they have what it takes right now?
They might. They might. Now, they're a very young team, and young teams that haven't been there before are kind of hard to predict, because even when it was the Bucks when they were young, when it was the Nuggets before they were when they were young, before they won their championships, it's always like these new teams on the block always get knocked out in the first or second round. They win 50 games in the regular season, but then they get knocked out in the first or second round. So Houston was the new kid on the block last year. They won 52 games, and then they were the second seed, and then they lose to the Golden State Warriors in the first round of the playoffs. So they say, okay, we're not good enough. Let's get rid of Jalen Green. Let's get rid of Dylan Brooks. Let's keep everybody else, and let's bring in the legend, the GOAT, KD. And so you still have that young core. You still got Şengün. You still got Thompson. You still got Jabari Smith. You've got the young core. You add Kevin Durant. So the young core has been to the playoffs. They've been there before. They've got a taste of it. They've been the second seed. They've won 7 games with the Warriors. You add KD, who's been there before. This should be a potent team. This should be a team ready to win now. And you have a good coach in Ime Udoka. You know, a serious, a tough, a defensive-minded coach. So you're in a tough division. You've got the Spurs who are surging. You've got OKC, the defending champs. But I think you've got a chance if you're Houston. You have all the pieces. You've got the young core. You've got the rising young big man in Şengün. You've got the athletic point forward in Thompson, although his shooting presents a bit of a problem. You've got the legend Kevin Durant shooting 51%, 39% from three, 89% from the free throw line. You're stout in the middle with Şengün, and then Steven Adams, solid big man backing him up. So what's their weakness?
But he did get hurt just at the game I was at. He had to limp off, Adams.
So let's hope he gets back soon. But I don't think they have a glaring weakness. And I think Durant's motivated because, you know, Durant definitely wants to win a non-Golden State chip because he's never really got his due for the Golden State chips. Things didn't work out in Brooklyn. They didn't work out in Phoenix. You know, the fans have turned against him to some degree. So you've got a motivated Kevin Durant. You've got a bunch of good young pieces. No, I think they're a real contender. I mean, you were just at the game. Are they contenders or are they pretenders?
I think they're contenders. And look, I want to look at the bench. The Rockets are averaging 30.7 points per game off the bench this season. That ranks them 15th in the league in bench scoring. So they're kind of right in the middle of the pack, right? But then you have the depth. When you look at the depth chart, you got Reed Shepherd, J.D. Davison, wings like Isaiah Crawford. But then you have the veterans like Steven Adams and Clint Capella, which I don't even think Clint Capella even got in the game. I didn't even see him play. But most of the team scoring and playmaking is part of the starting lineup, right? So I don't know. I think in order for you to be, you can have a good starting lineup, right? But I think personally, the teams that have usually, if you're in the top 7, 8 in bench scoring, those are usually the ones that are going to help you get to that championship level. So they're right in the middle. Like, I mean, I think it comes down to being matched up with the right people at the right time and injuries on the players on other teams in order for them to actually do it. Because they should have actually blown out the Pelicans the other day. But once they start, well, I hate to say that. I know you will love this, right? Once they pulled out Kevin Durant, like they kept giving up the lead every time. And you see it every time they bring the ball up. Where's KD? Where's KD? We got to find him. Like, bro, if you don't see KD within 2 to 3 seconds, bro, attack, do your thing.
I agree. I agree 100%. But what I worry about is, so you're right, the bench is the middle of the road. You'd like to see more production out of the bench. And a lot of the issue there is that Fred VanVleet got injured at the beginning of the year. So you'd either have him coming off the bench, or you'd probably have Reed Shepherd maybe coming off the bench. So you'd be getting more of a scoring kick there if you had VanVleet. But also, you want to see improved shooting from Amin Thompson. I mean, Amin Thompson can't shoot. And that game they lost to the Kings, it was Westbrook guarding him. And basically, Westbrook was guarding Thompson the way a lot of people used to guard Westbrook, where he would just back up and let him shoot. And if you have a player out there that's not your center that can't shoot, and you also have Şengün or Adams or Capella, your center that can't shoot, then they're all going to close out on KD, and you know they're all going to go after the shooter. So Amin Thompson, if he could get that 3-point percentage up to 32, 33, he's got to get it above 20, which is where it's at now. Do I have that right? I think he's at 20%. So you want to see that number go up, especially when you also got Şengün in the starting lineup, who's shooting 29.6% from three. But Reed Shepherd at 41, Tari Eason at 47, Jabari Smith at 36, Durant at 39. So you've got shooters out there. But if you're Thompson, you got to at least be able to make it enough for the defense to respect it. But I think that team's going to keep growing. And I think they should be at the 3rd or 4th seed by the end of the season, which will give them first round home court advantage, at least in the first round. So I'm excited to see what that team can do. I think that team has a lot of potential. I'm not giving up on them yet. No, they wouldn't be favored against OKC, that's for sure. They probably wouldn't be favored against Denver with Jokic, and it'd probably be a toss-up against the Spurs. But I think everybody else, they'd be favored to beat. They'd be favored to beat the Warriors. They'd be favored to beat the Lakers. So, a lot of teams wouldn't be favored to beat the Nuggets or the Thunder. But let's see what they can do. I'm optimistic about that team.
And I tell you what, Matthew, I like Reed Shepherd, right? And when he comes out, the way he can nail threes, right? But I saw matchups yesterday where Reed Shepherd is a defensive liability. He's only 6'2". And there were certain people there are certain people he was matched up with. I'm like, man, this is not good at all. And they were able to easily shoot over him, right? And then also, I think once, I don't think twice, but at least once, he was even like 2 or 3 feet behind the 3-point line and went to go shoot it and got blocked. At 6'2", man, unless you're like a Steph Curry, and that's how Steph gets his up, right? Steph, if he's open, he's gonna make it, right? But if not, Steph really has to work with his ball hand and get around these guys and sidestep and shoot. Reed doesn't have those ball handler skills. He's just straight up bring the ball up, and if I got enough space, I can shoot it. If not, I have to pass it off. Where Steph is like, nah, I'm gonna break your ankles, then I'm gonna shoot it.
Well, Steph's one of one. Not everybody can play like Steph, especially Reed Shepherd.
Or Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is short, like 6'2", 6'3", but he can break some ankles and get his shot up. Reed just doesn't have the handles to get around tall, players that's at least 6'4", 6'5", just to get around and get his shot up. Like, he literally has to be open.
Well, some players are like that. Some players have to get to their spots. Not everybody plays like Kyrie. Not everybody plays like Steph. And I was actually incorrect. I think I said something that suggested he was a starter. No, he is coming off the bench.
Yeah.
And he's only playing 25 minutes a game.
Right.
And so.
And it's because of his height. I knew right away as soon as I saw him come out there.
Well, if he's there to shoot, he's there to shoot.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to get to the rim. Not everybody's going to play defense. But if your defense is so bad that you can't guard anybody, then at some point they're not going to care if you can make a shot because they don't want to have shootouts every night. So he's going to have to develop that defense a little bit, or they're going to have to find favorable matches for him, or else his minutes are going to go down, down, down.